Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Talking Points, the show where we tackle the questions you want to ask about investments, property, tax, trust, precious metals, and so much more. We are creating a platform for you to ask questions and interact with our experts. So share your opinions and expand your knowledge on the topic. Feel free to pop your questions into the YouTube chat box, and we'll get to as many of them as possible. If you were one of the lucky ones who attended the last Wealth Masters webinar recently on the 5th of September, then you would have had some great insight into not only our speaker, but also the topic that we're going to be addressing today. We are, of course, at the mercy of our internet and electrical connections, so if for any reason we get cut off during the live recording, we do apologize and we'll upload a version for you to view as soon as possible. My name is Damien Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about something that we've all heard of, but often we're under a misconception of what it is, who can benefit from it, and why it even exists. This is, of course, trusts. And today we'll find out that it's not just a tool for the rich kids to benefit from, but actually a business concept that we can all benefit from. Our expert today is an exceptionally experienced wealth coach, businessman, and investor. He's been the keynote speaker at numerous international conferences, and since 2003, he's worked with more than 80,000 people around the world, all around wealth creation. Our guest has published more than 1,000 articles and 3 books in the last 18 years, and is widely recognized as an expert on residential property investments and trust structures. In 1996, he founded the Wealth Mastery System, which is dedicated to providing a wide range of services including wealth coaching, investor education, trusts and business accounting, and so much more. In 2003, he founded the Wealth Masters Club, which is an organization focused on delivering the latest expertise for managing wealth, developing high-performance property portfolios, and realizing our members' goals for financial success. I've also recently found out that the Wealth Masters Club is the fastest growing club in the world with over 700,000 members globally. Today, I would like to introduce the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Kurt Coetzee.
Good afternoon, Damien. And good afternoon to the viewers. Good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come and join us today and impart some of your wisdom.
Oh, thanks, Damien.
There's been quite a big misconception around trusts and what they're for, who can have one, etc. So I've always known a trust as something that the rich and the children of the rich have. So who can get a trust?
Anyone can have a trust. It is something that not all people are aware of. Some people might think it's only the rich that can afford a trust, and that is maybe also why only the rich have trust. But it's very affordable, so anyone can have a trust. Anybody.
On that note, I've always been the sort of person who thinks you need to have a lot of money to have a trust, because you're always hearing about the trust fund kids and all the money that's there. So you said this is not true. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, a trust, it does cost money, obviously. Just like when you set up a company, it costs money to set up a company, and it costs money to set up a trust. But it's not a fortune, and you can always make arrangements and so on. But roughly it's about 10,000 to 11,000 rand for a trust in that region. So it is not the most expensive in the country, for example, in South Africa, but it's also not the cheapest. So it is rather about what you get and if you really need one. Some people hear about trust and then they set up a trust, pay a lot of money, but they don't actually really have a need for the trust. So what we do is in a consultation is we determine first what is your need. For example, if you want to buy a house, then you must set up a trust first. That is actually important at that stage. You should never buy a house in any other entity than in a trust, a residential property. So yes, and then, okay, a person that can afford a house, or want to buy a house, obviously that person can easily afford a trust. But if you only have, if you're a youngster and you only have a guitar and a cup and a saucer and a plate and so on, and you live in a bachelor flat, so maybe you're not ready for a trust yet at that stage. But it's good to have information. So before you buy expensive assets, put it in a trust.
Sure. And look, I think most people like me we've never learned how to create a trust. And, I've done a little bit of research now on it. And after looking at it, it seems like you need to have a legal, accounting, and an English degree just to create it. So if somebody doesn't understand, where do you even begin?
No, you just arrange a consultation with one of our consultants. Okay, we are an investors club, so therefore our service providers only work with the members of our club. So obviously, the first thing you have to do is you have to join the club as a member, and then all consultations are free of charge. The membership fee is also not so expensive. It's 530 Rand a month, which you will get back in the form of club units. So it's like buying a share in the club. And every month you get more shares. We call it club units. So yes, and then you have access to all our service providers, and they are the experts. They are the one with the degrees and the English skills and things like that. And then they will set up the trust for you after having a consultation with you and taking instructions from you. They will help you. They will assist you.
Fantastic. Now, speaking of experts, last week I interviewed Cassie Henning, who is our tax expert. And he dropped quite a bombshell when we were speaking. So obviously through my research, I learned that SARS, or through the SARS website, they say a trust is taxed at 45%. But according to him, he says it's completely possible and legal to pay zero tax in a trust. Now, is that really the case?
That is definitely. Yes, a trust, the income of a trust officially is taxed on 45%. But that is why you are a member of our club. And then you will find out how to get around that 45%. It is not, it can be as little as zero. In most cases, it is zero. Actually, we go as far as we say that we guarantee it will be zero. If not, we will do your accounting for free for you. So that is better than that you cannot get. So you can definitely have zero tax on your trust.
I mean, sounds like it's an amazing offer.
Yeah, sorry, Damien, if I could just add, if you run your business in a company, for example, then a company will always pay tax. You cannot make a company zero tax unless you just run it on losses. And SARS is not going to happy if your company is making a loss every year. But in a trust, you can make a loss every year. And that is another reason also. You can accumulate losses. If you have too many losses for this year, then you can roll it over to next year. And then we have all other methods like the conduit principle and so on to make the income of the trust tax-free. And we have members of SARS also as members of our club, many. So one of our coaches actually is a SARS official.
Wow.
But I think for us, doing it in a different capacity, sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Of course. I think it's also going counterintuitive for someone to think to have a successful entity like this trust to be running at a loss. Instinctively, they think, oh, that's a bad thing. But what you're saying is that's not true at all. Like running at a loss then actually counts in your benefits.
Yeah. It's not, I must just emphasize the strategy with the trust to make it tax-free is not to make it working on a loss all the time. No, we want to make money, but there's a big difference between money and profit. And in a trust, we make money. And it's not for nothing that there's a saying, money buys the whiskey. You'll never hear a saying like profit buys the whiskey. Now, profit is always taxable. So we still make money, a lot of money. We just don't call it profit. We call it something else. We have contributions and distributions and loan accounts and stuff like that. I cannot go into the detail, obviously, here, but we make the money that you make 100% tax-free. And if not, it would have been profit. So that is where in 1996, I discovered these methods, and I recorded it properly in an online course and so on. And it's a holistic program or system, if I can call it. You cannot just go in and say, listen, I made $1 million profit this year. Can you quickly make it tax-free for me? No, we cannot do this. You have to set it up right. The trust wording is important right from the beginning. The trust administration is important right from the beginning. Then when you get to $1 million profit in the trust, then and everything is in place, like we would have done it for you, then we can do it tax-free.
Well, Kurt, if everything you're saying is true, then I'm sure that this whole setup of trust is going to be short-lived because government wants and needs us to pay tax. So surely government is then going to start regulating trusts for their own benefits and finding ways to get us to pay tax in a different way.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we are not paying tax, or let me rather say, the fact that we are not paying income tax doesn't mean that we are not paying tax at all. There are so many different kinds of taxes. So value-added tax, for example, capital gains tax. Okay, we can make your trust actually capital gains tax free also. But fuel levies and land taxes and stuff like that. So it is not that we are dodging everything. It is just the income tax. So what do we do with the money that we save on income tax? Most of us, we are entrepreneurs. So we just plow it back into the economy. We create jobs. We start new businesses. We expand on our existing businesses and so on. So that is what we do. And SARS is absolutely aware of everything that we do. So it's not even that we do it without them knowing it, because you have to submit the financial statements of a trust every year to SARS. So every year they get our financial statements on each and every one of the thousands of trusts that we are doing. They know exactly what we do. They attend our presentations, our seminars, and our online training even. So they know exactly what we do. And up till today, we've never ever had a single problem with SARS. We've never even had an audit from them. So I think that is saying everything.
Wow. But do you not feel now that you as a person within a community, are you not letting your community down by not paying all of these taxes?
No, I don't think so. I think we rather uplift the community with what we do, because look, let's be honest about it, especially South Africa. If we are not doing something with the money ourselves and we pay to SARS, there's a lot of fraud going on there. And it's just not just me saying so, it's general knowledge in South Africa. If I could see that they spend the money on the roads and on the infrastructure or whatever, on the hospitals, medical care and so on, then it would have been perhaps a different story. Then perhaps I would have felt a bit guilty of avoiding tax legally. But now I feel not guilty at all. And if we help our members to be able to arrange their own security with the money that they save. A few months ago, we actually had a program that we ran. It was a promotion where we said that the tax saving will pay your armed response. And in fact, still the case. So it is not that we are taking the money out of the community, because obviously if there's armed response in a neighborhood, then obviously in a neighborhood like that will be less crime. Because it's not your house that is protected, it is the visibility of the armed response guards in the street that is making the difference. And you are paying for them with the money that would have been taxed and stolen.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it makes absolute sense. And so the trust then as a structure, do you not feel that this is just a way for people, to hide their funds from government and from SARS?
No, we hide nothing. Everything that we do is open. As I said, financial statements that we do for SARS every year covers everything. Everything. We will never hide anything from them. Even people go around and say that Bitcoin, for example, or cryptocurrencies is unregulated. And then people think they don't have to declare it. We declare that also to SARS. And that's also a very important thing. The fact that you are declaring something to SARS doesn't mean that you're going to pay tax on it. But if you are not declaring it and not paying tax on it, you are committing a crime right there. And then we would have nothing to do with that. If you even suggest something like that to our attorneys, our accountants, then we will not do business with you anymore. Everything that we do is 100% above board, and we show it to SARS what we do.
Sure. Good. Have you ever had a situation where one of the members within the club has gone against what you guys said and, tried to hide things or not pay tax? Has that ever happened? And what was the sort of recourse for that?
Yes, we had. In such cases, we stop our connection with that client immediately, and we ask them to go. They are not our clients anymore. We stop it immediately. But we had that, not many times, but sometimes. Also, one thing that's very important is a trust cannot be used to hide, let's say, what can I call it? Income from criminal activities. It cannot work. We will have nothing to do with that also. Everything that we do is 100% legal. I cannot emphasize that enough. So it's not a place to park hot money or something like that. No, that is maybe something that you could do under your mattress, but then we have nothing to do with that.
So if everything is legal, and if a trust then protects your assets as well, and it's creating wealth for your generations to come, and it's governed by the correct laws, why doesn't everybody know about this? And why is it not something that we are being taught at school?
Okay, and I mean, I'm not really into the conspiracies and so on, but I think there's definitely something wrong with our society in the sense that the things that we do are already practiced for centuries by the rich and the royals. And that goes for the billionaires of South Africa also, and multimillionaires and so on. They know these things that I'm talking about, but they never share it with ordinary people. And it's actually the ordinary people suffering. I mean, it is general knowledge that Donald Trump, for example, he doesn't pay tax. I mean, he admitted it already, and not illegally, nothing like that. Because the more money you have, the more access you have to knowledge. So these guys on the top income brackets, they have access to this knowledge, but it's not knowledge that they will get at universities or something like that. Just to use a simple example, I always use it, the seminars at Duke of Westminster. That is where I discovered the methods that we are using. Because what we are using is not just applicable in South Africa. Our tax avoidance, legal tax avoidance methods is applicable all over the world. So the Duke of Westminster, for example, the old Duke Gerald, he died a few years ago and his son took over from him. I'm 100% sure his son knows exactly how to do these things and not to pay tax also. So actually it is the poor people paying government and pay their hard-earned money over to government, and then government steals it. And it is not just the South African government, so don't think now that I'm just going for the South African government. It is all over the world. Even the previous government in South Africa, don't ever forget, National Party ministers also went to jail. So everybody is stealing. A government official is, or let me say a politician. That is my problem. Not government officials, politicians. They are the criminals. But anyways, yes, if everybody knows it, if they teach these things at school, then there will definitely be no tax. So at the moment, it is the ignorant paying for the informed people. They pay the tax. So the bit of roads and infrastructure that we see that are developed from time to time by government, that is actually thanks to the middle class people and the poor people. So guys, if there are such people listening here, thank you very much for keeping the roads running and open and so on. But it's not necessary. There will always be enough ignorant people to do that. So we teach the people who want to stop this, people who want to improve their lives. Because with us, it is about wealth creation. And many people think wealth creation is just about making more money. No, it's not just that. It is about protecting the money that you made. That's actually the biggest part of wealth creation. I mean, imagine, you can go do the calculations now. Anybody, say for example, a 45-year-old listening to me here. Go and make a calculation of all the taxes that you paid over the years. And imagine now you still had those taxes today. Wow, it would have been a complete different world. And that's actually what made it possible. But then you must be willing to come to us and to learn. And then we help you because we have the service providers.
Obviously, you're a very smart man. I mean, you came up with a system, you developed it with a lot of experts. So why on earth would you now share this information that could obviously, help you so much? If everything is true, then you could be one of the richest men in South Africa. So why, share this knowledge? Why not keep it for yourself and, grow for yourself and your family?
David, I believe in the principle that Zig Ziglar actually said, the more you help people to get what they want, the more you will get what you want. So for me, it is about helping people. And if I can help them to make money or to create wealth, then obviously I will create wealth for myself also because we charge fees and so on. So we're not doing it for free. So I'm not really that philanthropic. But it is not about the money anymore for me. I retired already in 90, and it was in 1998 I retired. I was at the age of 42. And I didn't have to work again ever in my life. So I could have just carry on investing in property, like that is my passion, that is what I do. I'm a property investor. And yes, then, but it would have been boring. So now sharing this exciting information, because it's exciting, really is exciting. To, even if I have to say so myself, but if you come to one of our webinars, our seminars, it is very, very exciting. There's not a single boring moment because the information is so exciting.
So could now the trust, let's say we've created the trust, who actually controls that and makes the decisions as to what happens within that trust and how the funds get used and shared?
Yeah. The first thing that people have to make peace with in their minds is that they are going to lose control. And then that scares people. But it just looks like you are losing control. How it works is when a trust is set up, it is an agreement between the founder, you will be the founder of a trust, and the founder must be a natural person. A company, for example, cannot be the founder of a trust. So it must be you. You're the founder of your trust. And then the trust law says you must have an independent trustee. You will be a trustee also of the trust, plus an independent trustee. Then you can have more trustees if you want to. Your spouse, for example. That's what we actually suggest. In your family trust, it should be you and your spouse and your or life partner, and then an independent trustee. Now, independent trusteeship, that is what we do. Because that is where many people make a big mistake. They hear about any independent trustee and they will then, for example, ask the accountant of the trust to be the independent trustee also, or a brother, or a family friend. That is not an independent person. Whenever somebody sues you in your personal name and they go to court, then the court will allow them to take the assets of that trust because that trust is just seen as an extension of yourself. So to make a trust truly independent, that is one of the big secrets, if you can say that, because there are many trusts out there, but they are not even worth the paper they're written on. Yeah. So making it 100% legal, 100% creditor free or creditor crash proof, and tax free. That a lot of that depends on the independent trustee that you have and the trust accountant that you have. Yeah, so after you set up your trust, you're a trustee of the trust, but we work with discretionary trust. So that means nothing can happen in that trust without the approval of the trustees. And the trustees can decide how they want to apply the trust money and the trust assets. And the independent trustee, for example, is never a beneficiary of the trust. Because the moment he becomes a beneficiary, he's not independent anymore. So that is why some people are concerned that the independent trustee can run away with the money of the trust. He can't. He's not even controlling the bank account. You control the bank accounts. So it's 100% safe, but officially you have nothing in your name anymore. Officially, I don't have a car. Officially, I don't have a house. Officially, no, really, I am the poorest person in this country, or one of the poorest people. I have nothing on mine. It's not even my clothes. I have nothing. But I'm still the only one deciding who wears this jacket every day, or who drives that car, or who lives in that trust house, because everything belongs to a trust. And due to the fact that it is not mine, nobody can take that car away from me. Oh, the trust creditors can, but then you will see how we structure our trust. It's not just one trust. We work with a double trust structure. And the basics of the double trust structure is to separate the assets from the liabilities. And that is something unheard of. That is something that you will not get from any registered financial planner or so. Because everybody who knows me knows also that I have an issue with the formal financial industry of South Africa, actually of the world. They don't want you to know these things, how to protect your assets, because they want to get to a point somewhere where in your life where they're going to take everything that you have. It's just a matter of time. If it is not happening during your lifetime because of a sequestration or something like that, where they then collect big time fees and taxes and stuff like that, and they have the auction companies, they control that also. So if it is not because of such a situation, sequestration, it's definitely on death, then they take the assets. And I always say to people, if that was not the case, if you think I'm talking nonsense, that they're not going to take your assets, then my question to you will be, why are you not controlling the assets of your forefathers? What happened to their assets? You see, they take it. There's a time that they repossess it on death, because death costs, death taxes, and stuff like that is more than your net value at the end of the day. So all the seized estates, not in trust, will actually be insolvent eventually.
Could you mention previously now talking about double trusts. So is there a limit on how many trusts a person can have? And, is the government or SARS ever allowed to take away or forcibly close one or more of your trusts?
No, not at all. No, government is not interfering with our trust at all. And you can have any number of trusts you want. Obviously, a trust is expensive. Well, not really expensive, but I mean, I gave you the price in the beginning of the trust. So you're not going to set up trust unnecessary. It is not just a setup cost, it's also the accounting fees and stuff like that. So we will help you to make sure you don't take out unnecessary trust. But you need at least 2 trusts to start with. So especially if you're a property investor, we do the mortgages and the liabilities and that stuff and the properties in one trust, and then the debt-free assets in the family trust. And then as you proceed with your business or your life, and you buy more things or you start a company, then we introduce you to a company trust, to a company asset trust and things like that, share trust. So, but that is later when you need it. Very few people start with all the trust immediately. You start with the double trust structure, and that is actually the one, the one that kind of made me famous. It's the one that we registered in 1996, the first one in South Africa, the first double trust structure in South Africa. And that is what the whole wealth mastery system is based upon, about those 2 trusts.
Tell me, Kurt, now, I think there's a lot of people listening who might be quite excited or interested in this now. What would you need if you wanted to start your own trust?
You need, first you need assets. If you have no assets, there's actually no use in having a trust. So the first time that you start buying assets, and especially property, that is the main thing. But even if you buy silver, if you buy gold, if you invest in stock on a stock exchange, any assets like that, or even if you have a lot of cash, have a trust in place. So that is when you need a trust, when you have something to put in the trust. You cannot put your salary in a trust. So if you're still an employee, you work for a boss, then your salary must be paid in your personal name. So, and most people, before the end of the month, they have nothing left of that salary. So we suggest that people like that to come to our club, join us still, join the club, and then we take you through a process to help you to acquire assets. So it might take, say, for example, 6 months to get that to that point where you've saved enough for the deposit on the first house. And before you buy that first house, then we set the trust up. Not when we meet you the first time, because then that trust will be for 6 months, will need to be managed and administration done with it by the accountants and so on, and you are not using it. So only when you need it. So as a Wealth Masters Club, we have coaches. So we take you by the hand and we take you through the process. We help you to acquire easy assets in the beginning, like, for example, silver. Build a silver portfolio, or gold, and so on, until you have something that is worthwhile to put in trust.
Okay. So we spoke quite a lot about SARS and how we comply with all the legalities there. Is it possible for someone to open a trust if they're not in good standing with SARS?
Oh, yes. That's a good question, Damien. No, it's not that we need the permission of SARS to set up a trust. We can do that. But to be a trustee of a trust, you must be solvent. Okay. It doesn't matter what your standing actually with SARS is, but you must be solvent. So that's very important. So if you're already insolvent or sequestrated, you cannot have a trust. So solvency for me is good enough, because if you owe SARS money, it is not always to say that you really owe them. It can be a mistake. That old rule of you're not guilty until a court finds you guilty, that kind of thing. So, but if you're insolvent, then already you lost that case, and then you cannot have a trust. Yeah, then the master of the court. The trust is registered with the master of the High Court, and then the master will not allow that trust to be registered.
Okay. And then, Kurt, the final question I've got is, are you able to open a trust in a business name as well, or is it just in your personal name?
Just in your personal name. Or let me rather put it this way. You can have a business trust, and the trust can have the name of your business. JB Painters Trust, if you want to do it that way. Or you'll have a company, JB Painters Pty Limited, and that the shares in that company will then belong to a trust. So those are the 2 ways of doing it. So all depending on what type of business it is. If it is a one-man business and you don't have partners, then it might be better for you to convert that company or that close corporation or whatever, or that one sole proprietorship that you have, to convert it into a trust and rather trade with a business trust thereafter. So then we set up a business trust for you. But still, you must be, your personal name must be the founder of that business trust. What a trust, the kind of business that a trust can do is unlimited. Trust can do any kind of business. But the moment that you bring a partner in, that is especially a partner that's not a family member, then the trust is not good enough anymore. Because especially with strangers on shareholders and so on, I mean, it might be your friend, but it's not your family. And then the Companies Act protects partners better than what a trust can. A trust is for the family. You keep it in a family with a trust, the immediate family.
Kurt, thank you so much. I know they always say time flies when you're having fun, but I think time flies more when you're learning as much as we have. We've already been through half an hour, so I just want to say thank you. And I think everyone who's been watching has also learned something new about trust today. But before we end, I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of people. That's when I say I am and we are completely clueless as to how to even start. What is the first step? So where can the viewers go to get more information and to get in touch with your experts?
Yeah, that's a good point you make there, because if you just make a consultation now or arrange a consultation with one of my service providers, then it will be really fruitless, because you won't know, you won't understand the things that they are suggesting to you. So the best way, actually the only way to start, is you have to come to one of our training webinars. Webinar or seminar. So at the moment, because of lockdown, we are not allowed to do seminars. We do the webinars. And we do once a month, the first Saturday of every month, except for December and January. Then we go on long leave. But remember, we are wealth masters. We do this for the pleasure, not because we must. We have to. That's when I visit the kids in Europe and so on. But for 10 months of the year, every month, there will be a training session. So book yourself for the next one. The next one is on the 3rd of October. So anybody listening and want to know more, join the webinar. It's a full day webinar. We start at 9 o'clock in the morning and till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But we have enough breaks and everything. And where we normally charge a 490 Rand access fee for a webinar, we've decided now that the next one on the 3rd of October, we're going to make 100% free of charge. Yeah, it's just a gift.
Free of charge. You've just dropped a bombshell that nobody knows about yet.
Yeah, the next one in November, you'll have to pay 490 Rand again. So we just thought maybe it's time for a surprise. We have so many bad things happening everywhere in the world. So let's do something good for a Jace and give it for free, the information for free to the people for 400. Instead of 490, 0 fee. Just go on our website and book it.
Amazing. I'm sure people are going to be streaming there. So if today's discussion did pique your interest and you want to find out more information or how to get the correct people to help you to set up this trust, you need to visit www.wealthmastersclub.com. Is that correct, Kurt?
That's right. Yes.
Fantastic. And other than that, you can find more information on the website, but we will also be hosting this chat every Wednesday at 1 p.m. So feel free to join us live and ask your questions and interact. This video will be available on YouTube for you to share with all of your friends and colleagues in case they've got any questions about trusts. You can view this and the others from our playlist on Wealth Masters TV YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified about the next upcoming chat so you don't want to miss a thing. Kurt, thank you so much. I'm sure everybody has learned quite a lot today, and we look forward to you talking to us a little bit more at the webinar that everybody is, I'm sure, going to go register for today. Thank you so much.
Yes, the webinar will be exciting, I can tell you that. It's always exciting. If you just take a look at the previous ones, it is not just a normal webinar and just talking. We have music, we have different speakers. It's not just me. And different topics. We speak about property, we speak about trust, we speak about tax, we speak about gold, we speak about silver, and even cryptocurrencies. So all the things that we use to create wealth. I hope to see you there.
And I believe you also give away quite a lot of things at these webinars as well.
Oh yes, yeah, lots of gifts. Oh well, there must be gifts. So we have a lot of gifts that we dish out. Like last Saturday, it was like silver bullion bars, and it was like free trust and discounted trust. And no, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And we have competitions also. So if you must listen carefully, because somewhere in a webinar we're going to ask a question, and the first one on the replies was the right answer can get a big prize. The last Saturday, it was a 11,000 Rand prize, first prize for the first person with the right answer.
So I think we can call you the Bill Gates of South Africa, because you're a philanthropist, you're teaching us, and you're giving away free things for free. So thank you so much for that, and I'm sure we will see a lot of you there soon. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we will see you guys all again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Damien. Cheers, guys.